Denise Brown became a leader and activist after her sister Nicole Brown Simpson was brutally murdered in 1994.
She's in town this weekend to bring awareness to domestic violence, and we're so happy to welcome her to the Jam. Good morning.
Thank you.
Good morning. So you're going to be at the Break the Silence Foundation Gala tonight.
Yes.
What message do you want to send to everybody about your sister 23 years later?
Oh gosh, there's so many things that I want to talk about Nicole, because she was just like the girl that would give the shirt off her back. You know, everybody talks about the horrible things that are going on, and the sensationalism and things like that. And I just want people to understand that she was a victim of domestic violence, and that we're here talking about the survivors that are there at this Break the Silence event. And they're going to be doing a fashion show, which is going to be absolutely fabulous, because it's the survivors that are going to be wearing the clothes and actually strutting their stuff, which is absolutely fantastic. Because when you have a victim of domestic violence and she's so beaten down, that to get them up on stage and to be so proud and have such a self-esteem is just so incredible.
Yes.
Their journey has come so far, and Nicole never had that chance. So that breaks my heart, because I said goodbye to her that night, and the next day I said, oh my God, he did it, on a phone call. And I can just remember that night where it's like, God, you love her one minute and you see her, and then the next minute, and it's 23 years later, and it still brings tears to my eyes, because
of course it does.
This is my sister, and so I feel for anybody that has lost a loved one, because it's just something that shouldn't have to happen. They're just such senseless deaths.
What do you want to say to those victims specifically? I know we
Get
have
help,
we have a great
get
event.
out.
Yeah, that are still alive and can do something.
Don't be ashamed, because there's so much shame that goes with domestic violence, and I just want people to understand that there is help out there for you. We want to try and educate these victims of domestic violence, educate everybody, because it's not just the women that are victims, but it's also men that are victims as well. So I'm on both sides. Yes, a majority of the time the victims are female, but it does happen to men, and I've had a lot of people, even in this industry, in the media industry, that have come up to me and said, Denise, I am only there to save my children's life. I am there to protect my children. So, I mean, it spreads all over, all walks of life. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, black or white, gay or lesbian, Democrat or Republican, I've even put in there, because I've gone to Congress, and they've actually, when we do legislation and try to pass some kind of laws, what's happened in the past is that, all of a sudden they're sitting there talking about domestic violence, and then they're talking about pavement on a street, on a road. And I go, oh, I don't need to sit in here for this. Well, that was my first education about, what it's like in Washington, because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, women's lives are being reduced to pavement because you want a bipartisan vote? So that shocked the heck out of me. I just thought, oh my gosh, this is really crazy.
Denise, I want to ask you from a man's point of view with this, and we had this topic come up in the show, where it was a woman's in an abusive relationship, or it could be sexually abusive, it could be domestic violence, it could be anything.
Right.
And you're a friend of the person that's involved in that situation, a friend of the man that is engaging in these heinous acts to a woman.
Yeah.
What is a man supposed to do if they know that, but the woman doesn't want to come out and say something? What is a bystander who's not innocent because they're aware, what do they do in that situation? Do they take the reins? Is it theirs to then handle?
You know what I always tell people, and it's a really good question, because I remember a young boy asking me at Brooklyn College when I was there speaking, and he said, what do I do? Exactly that same question. I said, educate yourself. Learn everything that you can about the cycle of domestic violence, because it's all about power and control of one human being over another. There's the verbal, the emotional, the psychological abuse, the chipping away at somebody's self-esteem. You're ugly, you're stupid, you're worthless, nobody's gonna want you, I'm the only one that's gonna put up with you. And that escalates into the physical violence. But the words are very, very damaging. Every victim that I've spoken to says, the bruises go away, but it's those words that stay with you for a lifetime. So that physical violence, the kicking, hitting, throwing up against the wall, then there's the honeymoon phase of, oh baby, I'm so sorry, it's never gonna happen again. But that's the cycle of violence that continues until somebody in that family decides to break that cycle of domestic violence.
So we've seen documentaries, films, there's so much in the media about your sister's story.
Yeah.
And as I've watched some of them, I think to myself, what could their family be feeling right now? So with all of the media attention, how do you feel? How does your family feel?
Well, I don't watch it.
Okay.
People say, oh, well, did you see the show? Did you see this? Did you see this? And I go, why would I want to put myself through that again? Or my family.
That's interesting they ask you like that.
We lived it. It's like, why would I even sit there and watch this on TV?
And that's what people forget, that it's you lived it. This is your life. It's not just a good TV series.
Exactly.
It's your life.
It's all about making money. And for me, this is my sister. This is a life. This is a family, and it's an extended family, and it doesn't just happen to our family. It happens to people that love Nicole. So it's a much bigger picture than just me and Nicole, or my mother and Nicole.
You've taken this and done something to help others.
Well, you know what? I do my little part. You know, you guys do your part. Everybody does their part. And whatever I can do to help and, to save somebody's life is what I'm going to do.
Yeah, Denise, I think a lot of people watching right now clearly feel for you, your story, what your family's been through with this. But I think people also want to know, how are you and your family doing right now? As somebody who's lost a loved one, not in the horrible fashion that you did, but lost a sibling. I lost my brother to a heart attack. Much different scenario, but it's loss. I think people are wondering, how's the Brown family doing today?
How's the Brown family doing? Well, I think we're doing pretty good. I'm here.
Yes, you are.
I survived a 4 o'clock in the morning wake up.
Now that is very difficult.
I think I'm okay.
Doing it.
No, actually, we're really good. I mean, not to put too much light on it, but actually we have survived. And I credit that all to my mother, because my mother is a very spiritual woman. And I was so angry with God because I thought,
wow,
he took my sister.
Yeah.
He took my sister, and why did you do this? And why didn't you save her? And for me, it was like, I hated him. And I was cursing him. And then my mother, she said, Denise, she goes, we got to do something. This is not good behavior, what's going on with you. So she brought a priest over. And a minister.
A praying mother.
He came over and he goes, Denise, he says, this is not God's doing. This is the doing of man. And I thought, oh my gosh, lifted everything off my shoulders. And I thought, oh God, I don't have to be mad at you anymore. I mean, it was really a great thing. Just those words from that man just made me feel so much more at ease, going, you're right.
And those are such real emotions that anyone would feel after losing someone, after going through grief like that. You feel like the higher power could have saved something or done something different.
Well, you think so.
Forgiveness? Is that what that is?
No, I just felt good about the fact that I wasn't blaming God anymore. I cannot forgive. I haven't gotten to that point yet. And I don't think it's about forgiving, because I can't forget and I can't forgive. But it's just like I've moved on, and it's forgotten for me.
It sounds like it's what's driving you now.
Yeah, it's just forgotten. It is. Nicole will never be forgotten. The act will never be forgotten. But that part, that sensationalism that they do now with all the shows and everything, that part is in the past. And that's got to stay there.
Denise, I think you're a pillar of strength, and obviously everybody, you still have so much to talk about, so much important work to be done in the face of tragedy. Hey, I'm going to bug you after the show. You're not done here yet. We still have more to talk about. Denise Brown, she will be at Break the Silence Foundation Gala tonight at the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center. Make sure you log on to breakthesilencefoundation.org for all ticket information. It's a special cause. Make sure you go check it out and listen to some very wise words from a very wise woman.